Here there is example of using the synchronized keyword. The add money method uses the synchronized keyword, and since we have used this keyword, after completing all these steps only, it releases the log. Then another thread can execute it after the completion of add money method. The synchronized keyword used to indicate that a thread must acquire a lock before proceeding. When the thread leaves the selection of the code marked as synchronized, it releases the lock, allowing the waiting threads to enter. Only one thread can have the lock at any time, so only one thread can be inside a synchronized block at any time. Different synchronized blocks may use the same lock. Here there is a picture description how the synchronized keyword is working. To this house, both these persons are trying to achieve, but if it is locked, both of them cannot achieve. But if we release this lock, a person can enter to the house. Like these threads are also the same. If one thread takes a lock, another thread cannot be executed at the same time. After releasing that lock only, a thread can execute it. That's about Java threads. Now let's talk about C threads. As well as in Java, C also have threads. To create a C thread, there is only one way. That is by calling the pthread function. The pthread function creates a new thread in C. Let's take an example of a program where a C thread is created. The function pthread is like this. These are function parameters. Let's look at one by one. This pthread star thread, this means the thread ID, and this means the initialization of attributes, and the start routing means the function name, that means the task of the created thread, and these arguments means the parameters for starting the routing function. And next, this shows how this program is implemented. Here, the thread object of type pthread is used by the pthread system to store thread information. No initialization of this object is necessary. The pthread function calls the my function with a pointer to a number as the function argument. myfunc executes in parallel with the calling function. So, this is how to create a C thread and to execute a C thread. The pthread function is the main way of creating a C thread in C programming language. To compile a program with threads in C, we use the command cc our program name and -lpthread. And when we talk about the thread termination, a thread termination can be done with the pthread exit function. By using this pthread exit function, we can terminate a executing thread in C. As well as in Java, C also has a method of synchronizing a process. For that, we need a mutex variable. If the value of mutex variable is 1, that means the return value of the pthread mutex log function is 1. That means it is used by another. So, any others cannot use it. To unlock, that means to release the log, we use pthread mutex unlock method. And let's talk about some another methods used with C threads. The pthread join function, that means the pthread join function waits for the thread termination. And the pthread attribute initialization method destroy and initialize the thread attribute objects. In pthread attribute initialization function, it returns 0 if it is successful, and otherwise that means if it is not successful, that returns an error number. Here the way of initializing the pthread attribute destroy method and the pthread attribute initialization method. That's all about the C threads. Let's compare and contrast Java threads versus C threads. First of all, let's look at how we create threads in both cases. In Java, we have two ways of creating threads. One is extending the thread class and another one is implementing the runnable interface. In C, we use pthread create function to create a thread. To terminate the execution of a thread, in Java we use the stop keyword, and in C we use the pthread exit function. To synchronize a method, a thread, we used the synchronized keyword in Java, and in C we used mutex variables. And to join the executing threads, in Java we use the join keyword, and in C we use the pthread join function.